Be honest, if these horrors were gunmen instead of little magic boys, this would very much be like a nice Terthio kind of pike and shot build. But nonetheless, it is Tzeentch, so it is quite a different kind of vibe here. We've got a bunch of blues mixed with halberds in this replay from Calamity. He's got Kairos Fate Weaver up in the sky, a couple of exalted flamers of Tzeentch acting as kind of mobile field artillery, short-range field artillery. Think something like a grape shot cannon. We've also got some weird spawn here. One of my favorite RORs, to be honest. I think pretty decent overall. They've got physical resistance, armor sundering, as do all Tzeentch spawn, 170 weapon strength, definitely solid all the way around. And that's basically it. Yeah, a bunch of blues, some pinks, sour guts specifically. So, should be looking for some nice close-range action. Wow, the Exalted Flamer is doing a really nice job counter-skirmishing Scourge Chariots. I don't know if I've ever seen this interaction necessarily directly, but Scourge Chariots do have a little bit better range. They should try and stay at range. Well, actually exactly the same range, but yeah, that mobility allows them to kind of shoot and move a little bit. They've got to leverage that. The rest of the Dark Elves here, Morathi leading the way. Dark Riders, we've got some Bleak Swords, some Skirmisher Black Arc Corsairs, some Cold One Knights as well. Dark Riders with shields, lots of mobility, and just a little bit of infantry and skirmish. So very interesting builds on both sides. Kairos getting a very aggressive, a little bit aggressive, not a little bit, very aggressive actually. Yeah. Gets kind of clubbed a little bit by Morathi. Of course, he's got the shield to be able to absorb a lot of that damage. Trying to get away. Little drop from the sky on that flamer. Does some really nice damage there. His shield is down. That was all true damage there, but not too crazy. We do get a really nice placement. Oh, almost perfect. Unfortunately, that Exalted Flamer is just out of that Soul Stealer. Gaze of Fate also being used to freeze Morathi in place. Just unload point-blank range with the Sour Guts. So that healing obviously will help pretty substantially. Did quite a bit of damage as well to the Exalted Flamer there. Did some damage to Kairos, considering how tricky Kairos can be to damage just in general often, especially in the hands of a good player. Like that shield and his flying trait makes him just incredibly hard to kill. So yeah, nice to get some actual real damage there. Even taking some damage from the Bleak Swords in that engagement, as their stats aren't overly terrible. But Morathi's going to come in and finish the Exalted Flamer. We're getting a big melee engagement playing out as well. The Halberds moving in against this more cavalry-focused build from the Dark Elves. Should do pretty well as long as they get decent engagements. But right now, Cavalry trying to just bypass the Halberds, doing a great job getting through to the Blues, crushing them under the hooves and claws, I guess, too, of the Cold Ones. Gotta love Warhammer. Absolutely awesome. Kairos getting some support here from the weird spawn and from his own Halberds, able to push Morathi away. Might even maybe finish her off. Nope, not quite. Ooh, the stagger. That army ability bolt that I can't remember the name of definitely did some good stagger damage, but Murderous Prowess currently online, helping all the Dark Elves in this big pitched melee battle. Scourge Chariots have quite a bit of ammo left, but right now they're kind of forcing themselves into melee a bit to try and stave off the rush. Tzeentch definitely landing the rush pretty hard here, just able to crush through a lot of the Dark Elves' HP. Relatively low HP, but have been able to take out, the Dark Elves at least, have been able to take out some high-value targets. Nice fire from the Exalted Flamer into Cold One Knights, all blobbed up there. They're going to finish off those blues. Yeah, basically all the blues are done, but they're relatively cheap to be able to absorb damage from the Cold One Knights and then offer other units the opportunity to deal damage in return. I mean, they're not crazy cheap. They're a decent amount of gold, but still. The Halberds holding out just fine. Chaos Warriors, Halberds don't really have anything in this particular army that could challenge them in melee, really. So as long as they don't just get overwhelmed or magicked or anything else, should do just fine. Speaking of getting overwhelmed, though, this is exactly how it happens. All these Cold One Knights charge in. I don't know if they had a targeting order directly on the Halberds themselves or what exactly they're targeted on, but the Halberds nonetheless get punished pretty hard, as does the other Flamer. The Dark Elves definitely not going quietly, and Morathi has ability to scrap back. Definitely not maybe as good of ability to scrap back, kind of claw our way back into games as other lords and factions, but the Dark Elves can do okay. Although, did Morathi actually kick the bucket? All of a sudden I don't see her on the battlefield anymore. It's possible she actually just died somewhere. But nonetheless, Dark Elves are rallying together. It is going to come down to probably a couple of halberds here. The weird spawn getting caught in a weird position. Still, though, do they cause terror, actually? Yeah, that's right, they do. Terror and physical resistance, really nice to have, honestly. Makes them much better than most spawn variants. But Scourge Chariots take some massive damage there. Kairos has been able to get some really nice contact with that blue fire. Got some decent value so far. Nothing too crazy. But, yeah, at least because the shots scatter, they're going to do some nice damage on the Scourge, hit multiple models, bring down one of them, able to rout. Albert's just holding out, doing their best. Maybe should, yeah, go gain control of the objective. Possibly, just to be able to have some ground to hold and not have to feel like you need to chase too much. But Kairos also, given Marathi's demise, doesn't necessarily need to hard land here, although he could if he wants to support the halberds. Could be a little bit risky, but probably will just stay up in the sky using more AoE magic damage. Tzeentch's Firestorm once again going to be unleashed here. He's got some good contact with those as well. Decent. Oh, triple scatter vortex. Burning a path through those Cold One Knights, who do rout from that. These two Cold One Knights, though, finishing off the weird spawn. Staying out in space, chasing some routing. Chaos Warriors, Scourge Chariots also are alive with a couple of unit models, which still have a good amount of ammunition left. Certainly still threatening, despite their incredibly low HP. Yeah, you can see them plinking away at Kairos. Kairos himself is getting pretty low. A little bit of a shootout with the Scourge Runners, but his magic has proven superior so far. And let's see, I don't think the Scourge has actually enough to finish it off. What do they have, like 4 volleys left? Yeah. At Kairos, like 2,000 HP. They can contribute a little bit, certainly here. Maybe these Corsair Handos get in range to deliver one final volley. So yeah, you can see the halberds now pushing over to the Conquest objective. But just more blue fire from Kairos. Plenty of magic left in the tank, no doubt. Yes, Scourge Chariots barely holding on to their leadership. Tiny bit of damage on the Chaos Halberds. They might just go for an engagement here, the Dark Elves, just to try and force Kairos onto the ground, because now with no ranged units, they really have no way to respond at all to him. So it could be bad, though, if the Cold One Knights don't get some support. This is a very healthy, in comparison, unit of Chaos Halberds. Yes, a good avoidance from the Dark Elves here. Not actually taking that engagement, but while you're trying to play for time, Kairos is able to finish off that Scourge Chariot there, drops down for a quick terror route right into the center of his halberds, also kind of pulls the Cold One Knights into the halberds as well as they go on an attack order after him. These Cold One Knights do get a nice rear charge here. Very, very close, honestly. These Cold One Knights could potentially carry if they can break this unit of Chaos Warriors, but it really depends on how much magic. Oh, that was super risky, though, from Calamity. Dropping and getting that Black Ark Corsair. He does manage to break them, but Kairos himself gets caught by the Cold One Knights. This could be an absolute disaster. It's got Tzeentch halberds barely in position, perhaps, to screen. Yep, looks like the Cold One Knights weren't quite able to finish off Kairos, and that right there is victory. Wow, came down quite to the finish. Quite to the finish. So SPB here with an absolute banger against Calamity. Big thanks to Calamity for sending that one in. By the way, if you're out there with some replays, feel free to drop by the Discord. Drop them in there. Send them to me direct message on Discord. Send them to the email. I do still occasionally get some by email like the olden days. But anyway, yeah, definitely grateful for this one because that was a fun game. Really nice finish. I intentionally didn't watch the finish on that one until I actually casted it live because I saw that it was going to be pretty close overall just from reviewing kind of the initial replay. So yeah, glad I saved it because that was awesome. That was legitimately awesome. And just kind of great build all the way around, honestly. A lot of stuff for Calamity is going to pay for itself. There wasn't a ton of units that weren't cost effective. Maybe a couple of the blues got ran down pretty hard. Like one halberd doesn't pay for itself. I guess technically the Flamers, what are they, like 1,100 Exalted Flamers? So they basically pay for themselves. Weird Spawn also, maybe not quite, but still like to have them. The Armor Sundering can get pretty good support value, but I guess in this build, you don't have a ton, besides the blues and the pinks, you don't have a ton of like non-AP high damage, a lot of armor piercing. Anyway, Marathi here with some pretty good value herself. The infantry overall, yeah, I mean, Bleak Swords you wouldn't really expect to do a ton here, but they don't. Look, Corsairs get some pretty good value in a couple instances. The cavalry definitely performs well, the kind of the backbone of this build. The Cold One Knights largely do what they need to, just weren't quite able to clutch it out there at the end. And one of the Scourge Runners paid for themselves despite the challenges they faced. The other one was able to get taken down, and honestly pretty impressive. I mean, Scourge Runner units are, in the hands of a skilled player especially, just really good in multiplayer, super cost effective, super versatile, do so many things for you, and really like can pay for themselves very consistently. So to be able to take some down without them doing anything is pretty impressive, honestly. Well, I mean, they did a little bit, but not what they needed to, certainly. And that probably is the difference at the end of the day. Again, a pretty close game. Some plays on either sides probably could have swung things either way, but fun one for sure. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. If you like this sort of content, be sure to like and subscribe. Hit that bell notification, all that fun YouTube stuff. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.